Hello, my name is Michael J Malone, and I will be reading from my novel A Suitable Lie. This is the only one of my 12 books that are actually based in Ayr, the town that I've lived in most of my life. So, what's that all about? Anyway, I'm going to read a couple of excerpts, one from the start and one from near the back. Don't worry, there's no spoilers, but it's just the parts that sort of show the town off a wee bit. I like to think so anyway. So the book itself is about a young man called Andy who's suffered some tragedy in his life. His wife died and left him with a wee boy, and as the book opens, he just met someone else, someone that he's destined to fall in love with. So they meet at an event. They're both feeling quite awkward, so they agree to go for a wee walk and leave the place. And this is what happens next. Half an hour later, we were walking alongside the low grey wall that holds the sands of Ayr Beach from being blown into the town. The tide was in, the waves had their lazy on, and we could see the sweep and curve of the bay ahead of us. And out to sea, holding up the skyline, were the hills of Arran. A cool breeze was coming in off the water, and despite the early summer evening sunshine, I could see her arms stipple with the cold. Nice, she said. This is lovely. No wonder you've never left the town. How did you? It's written all over you, she smiled. Born, bred and buttered Ayrshire, eh? On the way down here, her chatter had been light and unaffected, and to my surprise, without any awkward silences. She was an easy lady to talk to. It's Anna, by the way, she said as she took a seat on the wall. I sat beside her. Just then an elderly couple walked past with a yellow Labrador. Judging by the colour of its coat, it was just out of the sea, and it chose that moment to give itself a shake, spraying us both with droplets of seawater. Anna's laughter was loud and unrestrained. The couple were profuse in their apologies. The dog approached us and nudged Anna's hand with its nose. The woman tutted. This is Dave, by the way. Her pride in the dog evident. The wee greedy bugger's just looking for a treat. He's not the only one, the man said and gave me a wink. Geez, hen, you're all wet. I'm awfully sorry. You'll catch your death. Here, you can have my fleece. No, Anna stretched out the syllable. I'll be fine, honestly. The man offered her it again. It was clear he was momentarily caught in the glamour of her. I glanced behind me at the sea and thought of mermaids and the siren call. Come on, you, the woman said, giving him a nudge. Offering young women your fleece. They'll be calling the cops on you next. She set off, and with a regretful air, man and dog immediately trotted after her. Anna waited until the couple were out of earshot. At least the natives are friendly. As she said friendly, she looked into my eyes. Discomfited and flattered, I looked away. She was way out of my league. What the hell was she doing talking to me? We were getting round to introductions before Dave showered us, she said. The pause, a request for my name. I told her. And what brings you to my hometown? I asked. I've been sent here for work. Well, what is it you do? Nothing special, she smiled. There was a light in her eyes and a blush to her lips, and I felt my thawing back into the human race continue. I work for the bank, she said, but don't be asking for a loan, I'm just a teller. Wait, I sat up. Which bank? The one at the top of the high street. She cocked an eyebrow at my sudden interest. I mentally reviewed the staff there. We were expecting a new team member, but that wasn't until next week. I don't start until Monday, she added. I've got a few days holiday to take first. She held her hands out, gesturing at the scenery. I thought I'd take the sights in first. A file had arrived on my desk the night before. The name came to me. Anna Reid. How do you know that? She straightened her back. Andy Boyd, I said. I'm your new boss. So the next scene, as I said, is near the end when things have gone awry, shall we say, without giving too much away. And Andy's kind of looking for some peace, somewhere where he can go to make sense of everything. One by one, I ticked off in my head all the places that normally offered the stillness that eased my spirit. In the days and weeks after Patricia died, I made for the wind and sand on Ayr Beach, as if the energy there would scour the wounds from my heart. Other places helped, like the River Doon and Craigie Woods. But now, I parked at each of those places in turn, sat in the car and studied the people around me as if they held some key, as if they had what I ached for: peace, stillness, an answer. They wore their happiness like a certainty, whereas the only thing I was sure of was that my life was an unholy mess. At the River Ayr, on the cobblestone paving at the foot of the old brig, I saw a familiar figure. She was barely 5 feet tall, dressed in grey sweatpants and a red and white striped sweater. Her long grey hair was gathered at the nape of her neck and looked to have the texture of a Brillo pad. She was bent at the waist as if there was a broken hinge there. My son Pat called her the Swan Lady. She was an often seen figure down here. She would borrow a shopping cart from one of the supermarkets and ask them to fill it with stale bread. Once she judged she had enough, she would push the cart through the town, taking the bread to feed the swans that lived under the bridge. Her progress through the streets was as stately as a mad queen's, no doubt hampered by the fact that she couldn't straighten her back. There was an eccentricity about her that warmed me, that gave me hope. What I would be able to give to switch off from everything and be guided by the notion that all I needed to do was gather the loaves and feed the birds. Thank you.